Now let's look at focus points and how you focus instruments in Spotlight and how you can turn them on and do all that type of stuff. First you need to select the lights which you're going to focus. I'm going to just select these four here, and I can either go up to here, focus points, and go focus instruments, and I can add a focus point to the next click, or I can actually just go here to the Spotlight tool set and go to the focus point tool and just place a focus point straight away on the page. So I'm just going to do that here. Let's call this lectern. You'll see how it defaults to, say, 1500. That all the defaults can be changed up here in the mode bar where that preference icon is, and that will preset any tool from here on in, no matter what tool you click on, if it's applicable, to have that preference button. You can then preset it, such as the trust tool and so on and so forth. But anyway, so you can change that number here, but the stage itself is also at a certain height, and of course in Vectorworks, wherever there's a number, you can enter a formula or do the mathematics. So the stage is at 900. I can just go, so the focus height is that. I'm just going to put that there. Now I can choose to show or hide the focus point name. If I look at this in a right hand view, you'll see there it is. There's the focus point at 1500 above the deck, which in fact here on the right hand side is 2400, of course. I'll go back to top plan, and let's now focus some lights to that point. So let's just select these four and just go Spotlight, focus instruments. Now I've got some already in here, but let's go lectern, and those lights are now focused. So what I can now do is go to the Object Info palette and choose to draw the beam. If I draw the beam, we'll see that. I can choose to draw the beam as a colour, and it's just a light blue here. If I change those colours, let's change this one now to a 106 for a bit of a laugh. Let's go 139. You'll see the colours are there. Of course, if you move the focus point, those lights will go where that focus point is, and according to the photometric data in the lamp itself. So let's just move it back to the center there. Now you'll notice that the focus point itself in the Object Info palette, you can change its name and so on and so forth, but also here you've got different shapes. You've got the option to have just a standard hybrid object, or 2D, 3D only, or locus points, which locus points don't print, or indeed you can have some of these predefined areas, such as a 8 foot 2.4 meter square, something that's maybe vertical. So if you look at this in a 3D view, you'll see it's a vertical surface like that. It's a bit tricky to see that, and so that just allows you basically to create, if I just use a save view, I've already put some in here on a separate layer, a whole load of focus points across the area, and of course you can focus those lights accordingly. So let's just select all these lamps again, and holding the shift key down, of course, and I'm just going to change the Object Info palette. This is the default Object Info palette, so let's just go to one which I've already saved here in the Spotlight Preferences for conventionals, which makes it a bit more manageable, and it's got all the stuff that I think I need in my particular idea of drafting. Obviously everyone's got other parameters and fields they might require. Now if I look at this, or if you look at this in a horizontal view, you'll see that it stops off at that cut-off point. Let's have a look here at the right-hand view, and if I go here, you can change it to the fall-off point, which is basically to the floor, or you can see both here. And indeed, if I go now to the top plan, you'll see that it's a bit messy here. So what I might do is actually just turn them all off for a second, and just let's look at one instrument here. Let's look at this one. Draw the beam and draw those 3D solids, so we can see both where it hits the floor basically, and then where it hits the lectern. Now all these can be controlled. They can do shutter cuts and so on. So just to select all these again in the Object Info palette, you can either double click them or click this edit button here, and you can see here this is how you can apply colour, which I think I've shown before, light information, So you get the gobos if you've got Renderworks. Notice how it's got this apply to all if you've got more than one instrument selected, or go next. So I can go to the put in Lee and click in here. So say we're just going to go for a particular color. I can go next. So you can just go through the whole rig just like this, or you can apply to all here. And also you'll notice you've got shutter cuts, so you can change a shutter cut just like this, and so on and so forth. So, and that will render accordingly, but I'm not going to worry too much about that for the moment. Now let's go and turn some of these lights on, and if you have Renderworks you can do that. I'm going to go to Save View here, which is a perspective view inside the room, and give this a quick OpenGL render. And the first thing you'll notice is that it's pretty dark. That's because no lights are turned on, and you can turn them on using the visualization palette. This palette is accessible like all palettes from the window menu here, not to be confused with the visualization tool set down the bottom here. Now, a spotlight lighting device is treated or considered to be a Renderworks light. In other words, Renderworks lights are also controlled in this palette, and you can simply turn them on by putting a tick on the left hand side here. As I do so, you'll see it's lit up there. Notice in OpenGL though there's no beam structure or anything like that, because it's just a general render there. You can also turn off shadows and change the type of lights and see what layer it's on, etc. Now I'm just going to go to a custom Renderworks render. This is to make things a bit quicker for the movie, and that's another topic, custom Renderworks. But you see here there's sharp edge beam of light. These are 30-degree fixed beam instruments, and as you can change the softness of that focus there, as you can for Renderworks lights. I'm just going to hold the shift key down, select both of these, right click, select on document. I've got the two lighting devices here. I'll just stop it re-rendering. Hit the edit menu, and you'll see here these are the beam angles, etc. So I could actually put in 10 degrees here. So that's going to be a hard edge, but then it's going to sort of get smoother to 30 degrees. And if I go apply all, click OK, and what I might do is just quickly stop the render by hitting the escape key and go to fit to page so we can see it a bit more clearly. Oh, that's not going to let me. There we go. You'll see now that both beams are soft edged, which is just a nice thing to be able to do. Now let's go to top plan for the moment. I'm just going to go to another save view, which is up the top here, and I'll turn those, I'll leave those on, maybe turn on this gobo here and give it another custom Renderworks. That's focused to a point downstage on the steps, and you'll see now that's having applied a gobo to the instrument, and it's now lit up that part of the stage. And you apply a gobo to an instrument. If I just right click it here and go select on document, in the edit dialog, I'll just stop the render there. You can get a resource here. If you've already imported the gobo into the drawing, it'll be there for you when you go get resource, and that's how you apply the gobo to a particular lamp. But for any light to be turned on, it has to be focused. It has to be at a particular on a particular focus position. So now then, if you want to make things really exciting, you can actually put a bit of smoke through some of these lights, and this is true of all Renderworks lights, of which spotlight lighting device is treated as such, and it's done only through the visualization palette here. And this particular light, this gobo, which you can see here, if I just right click that and go edit, you get this option to add some lit fog to it. I'll just escape that render and just re-render it now. By hitting escape, that will stop the render. I'm just going to force it to re-render now, and that will render a bit of smoke in that particular light. It does take longer to render, understandably, but you can get some quite nice effects. And that smoke itself is a resource, which if I just have a look up here, is a Renderworks background. Here it is here. You can right click it and edit this background, change its density. To speed things up, you can turn off receive shadows. In other words, if you were shining a light through a truss and that was shining through the beams, and you could get quite complex renderings, but obviously there's a price to pay for that. So if things are slowing down a bit, just turn off receive shadows in the background, in the Renderworks background, which is what this fog is. And there are various types of other backgrounds that you can play with, but that's for another topic. But that's certainly a fairly useful effect, perhaps. And finally, I'll just show you another way to control the lights, whether they're on or off, other than the visualization palette. I might just go to wireframe just to make it easier to see these, and just zoom up a bit. So you just actually select the lamp and just right click. You get these options in the contextual menu here, and at the bottom you can just turn them on, or even let's edit the light itself and go with the lit fog option. And I'll do this for both of these, and edit the light, turn on lit fog, and then go back to custom Renderworks, and we'll cut to the end result.